Welcome to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. In this segment, we talk about Zen, borderline personality disorder, and the fact that we're all going to die, and how skills learned in childhood can translate to producing creative work. Enjoy. I got my energy back yesterday. I woke up and I was like, oh shit, I got my energy back. That's fantastic.
I know. Isn't it great? You're sick, it goes away. You're like, then you wake up one day and you're kind of like, the birds are singing. And,
Yeah. It's the same exact world you're living in. You're just different.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that, I'm thinking, that's all, like if it's always the same world, but your energy kind of dictates that, like, I saw the world as a very dark place when my computer crapped out and I was sick.
Oh, yeah.
And I was going to be late and with my deadlines and all of that stuff really bummed me out. And then Laurel asked me if I thought I had. Now that I think about it, it's funny. But at the time, it was not funny. I was really offended. What she asked me, there's that personality disorder where, borderline, just out of the blue. She's walking through the room like 11 p.m. on a Saturday night, and I'm lying on the couch just with a Kleenex box on my lap, and she just kind of says, do you think you might have borderline personality disorder? And I'm like, what? I mean, I know somebody whose daughter has it, and those people are a ton of work, like they're just, everything's dramatic and they're constantly getting into terrible situations. And I'm like, no, I don't think I have it. I mean, do you think I have it? Because, those are just, and I told her what I thought about people.
That's always the next question, right? Wait,
yeah.
You think I have that? What?
Yeah. I was deeply hurt, actually. Yeah, because I'm so chill with her. Anyway, so I was like, really? And then I went to bed and I was like looking up borderline personality disorder. And then I, texted her a link and said, I'm pretty sure I don't have it. And she's laughed. She's like 10 feet away in the next room. And she laughed and said, Mom, that was just really random. I don't think you have it. And I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, all that to say, because I was sick, something I just would have brushed off actually had me questioning my whole personality. And so I think there's got to be some kind of big Zen realization in there that, if the world itself is not changing, if it's just something that's changed about you that makes it really hard to see things in a positive light, it affects everything, It's like, let's say somebody told you you're going to win you're going to get $1 million transferred into your bank account next week. Absolutely destined to happen. It's going to happen. All the paperwork's happening. You believe it. Mm-hmm. How would you be walking around,
Yeah. How does that change? But, the other thing, and this is one of the things, when he came out as transgender to his wife, and wow. He was very in love with her and she with him, and they had this, there was issues definitely coming in, but there was a lot of love too. Yeah. And she just said, I can't do that. And it just, his life kind of blew up. Like everything he feared would happen since he was like 5 years old, became real.
Wow.
Or at least had, some of the things became real, which made his thinking then go to everything's going to become real. All of those fears.
Wow.
He became suicidal. He was hospitalized for quite a while.
Wow.
And he had this friend who has Asperger's, right? An autism spectrum disorder.
Yeah.
And he came to him and he said, and he says, I don't know why you feel like you want to kill. His friend says this to him. I don't know why you feel like you want to kill yourself, because you're going to die anyway. Why not just wait and see what happens?
Oh, that's great. Right? I love that.
And then he's like, wow, that's really incredible. And then he goes, yeah. And the other thing is, whenever I'm feeling really, really good, like super, super good, I tell myself this is temporary. It's going to go away. So then when I'm feeling really, really, really bad, I can tell myself this is temporary. It's going to go away.
Wow.
And he was like, boom, boom. And so that's what I think about, is like when I'm feeling like, why does God think I shot his dog? I'd say I then have to take that moment, right, to follow this bit of advice. This is temporary,
Yeah,
right? When I was feeling on top of the world, that was temporary. When I'm feeling at the bottom of the world, temporary.
that is good.
It helps. It doesn't get rid of it, but it helps.
Yeah, it does. It's just a bit of perspective, you know? And the other I really like that thing about you're gonna die anyway, why not just wait and see what happens?
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
misery is kind of a choice. Like, I know that for me, I'm not saying it's for everybody, but when something shitty happens, if I focus on it, it gets bigger.
Mhm.
You know, if I don't focus on it, I notice more of the other stuff that's happening, I guess. It just gets sort of pushed into perspective. So, and I think part of learning, when you grow up, like to learn, if you're not naturally born that way, to actually learn how to give yourself perspective on stuff, it's a lifetime's work, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's hard. And within what we're doing, I think it is incredibly triggering being a creative.
Yeah.
You're prone to this
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
catastrophizing, disaster planning, uh, letting things, taking, things that are going wrong and building them into big, huge things.
Yeah. I'm a failure.
Yeah, yeah. And it's I think being a creative is a very triggering thing for that. And I have that as part of my personality,
Mhm.
really inherited from my dad. But but because I've been aware of it, because I had my dad as like that example, and I didn't want to be him in any
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that life, what you just said, you have a lifetime of learning how to deal with it, even
Yeah.
though it never really goes away.
Yeah. Yeah. It is kind of a it's a skill like anything else. It's a muscle you can build.
It's actually where I learned that if you're going to deliver anything that possibly or in any way could be construed as bad news,
Yeah.
you better have a solution ready to go,
Yeah.
right? So I'm sorry this happened, but here's how I'm going to fix it. And I
Yeah.
learned that from my dad probably when I was like age 8.
Isn't that amazing? God, it's kind of sad, really. But such a great skill, right? It's
Yeah, it translates. And I'm sure you have like if you were to really do, and you maybe are aware of them, but do a deep dive of like, okay, what are my like stress, panic, overwhelm, coping skills and where did they come from?
yeah. Well, my big one is avoidance, so that's not so functional.
Mine too.
I guess the positives are that I know that freaking out never helps. Thanks for listening to Gifted Underachievers, a podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. We'd love to hear about your own experience with seeing the world differently and how you gain perspective. Please leave a comment, join our chat page, or send us an email to giftedunderachievers@substack.com.